The Japanese car culture iceberg, Yakuza, secret circuits, and mind control. Everyone knows about the Skylines, Supras, and the big manufacturers. That's just the surface. Beneath the mainstream lies a hidden world of secret societies, lost prototypes, wild conspiracies, and underground legends. This is the Japanese car culture iceberg, where every tier takes us deeper into the unknown. Some of it's real, some of it's urban legend, and some of it was never meant to be found. Super Formula. Super Formula is the premier Japanese single-seater series. It has gone by many names in its history, and was known more recently as Formula Nippon. This series uses the Dallara SF23 chassis with advanced aero elements and a DOHC inline-4 engine pushing out 550 horsepower. As a result, these cars are faster than FIA Formula 2 cars and aren't that much slower than F1 cars. The series is well known for being a popular series where aspiring F1 and IndyCar drivers go to compete and build their profiles, with racers like Pierre Gasly, Liam Lawson, and Paddy Award having competed in it previously. 276 horsepower rule. The 276 horsepower rule was a gentleman's agreement back in the late 1980s, in which most Japanese manufacturers agreed to advertise their cars as having only 276 horsepower in the Japanese domestic market. This was done out of fear that having stupidly powerful cars on the market may attract government attention in the form of safety or technical regulations. The most famous cars that have been advertised as being 276 horsepower were the Supra, RX-7 FD, and the R32 through R35 Skyline GTRs. Honda would be the first to break this agreement in the mid-1990s. After that, it would slowly fade into obscurity. Tier 2. Yakuza influence. I won't go too deep into this topic, as Driver61 has a good video covering this. But in short, the Japanese Yakuza was very active in Japan in the 1980s and 90s, with them pursuing many illegal operations related to car culture, such as race fixing and money laundering. Their activities even went international, with known Yakuza influence in international motorsport scenes, and even Australia getting involved as well. But that's a story for another time. Midnight Club Hidden Codes. The Midnight Club was a popular street racing car enthusiast group back in the 1980s and 90s. They were known to be very wealthy businessmen and people of high status in Japan, and as such were clouded in secrecy. If you would like to know more about these guys, watch this video. One of the secretive ways they would coordinate meetings back during this time was by placing hidden codes in the local Japanese newspaper, usually in the classifieds section. Only members of the Midnight Club knew how to decipher these codes, which allowed them to coordinate group meetings without drawing police attention. Tier 3. Japanese NASCAR. This is in reference to the NASCAR Winston Cup Series that held non-championship exhibition races in Japan from 1996 to 1998. In 96 and 97, they would hold the Thunder Special at Suzuka Circuit, and then the Coca-Cola 500 at Motegi Oval in 1998. This race is most well known for Keiichi Tsuchiya, aka the Drift King, competing in it and finishing his best position of 11th place at Suzuka. Drift King license issues. Speaking of Tsuchiya-san, he had a very unusual early career due to funding issues, which restricted his ability to get good track time. As a result, he learned to race on the Toge in his late 20s near Kanagawa. A series of films called Plusby in 1987 would make him famous, but would also attract some negative attention. Due to the illegal street racing nature of the films, he had his racing license temporarily suspended by the Japanese sanctioning body. He would eventually regain his license, then go on to have a successful drifting and sports car career, becoming the legend most people know today. Tier 4. 1966 Japanese Grand Prix Mandela Effect. Despite being called a Grand Prix, the 1966 Japanese Grand Prix wasn't an officially sanctioned F1 race. The first official one would be in 1976. So, why do many people misremember this as a Grand Prix? The event was run with Grand Prix rules of the period and was hyped by local and international media as a Grand Prix. It was also the first major post-war domestic Japanese event, and was the first to be held at the brand new Fuji International Speedway. This race brought in over 200,000 spectators. Those are absolutely crazy numbers for this time period. To put it into perspective, in that same year, Le Mans only had around 250,000 spectators. These are the reasons why this event is often misremembered as Japan's first Grand Prix. Taki Inoue. Taki Inoue was a Japanese F1 driver in the mid-90s who was known for being involved in some extremely bizarre incidents in his short 2-year career. His first was at the 1995 Monaco GP, where, after practice, during the recovery of his car by safety staff, it was hit by the safety car during a post-session inspection, smashing it into the barriers. The second incident would come at Hungarian Grand Prix, where he would have a mechanical failure, causing an engine fire. He would attempt to fight the fire with marshals and would be hit by the safety car, injuring his leg. These strange events have led to many people labeling him as the unluckiest F1 driver of all time. He is still active in Japan, managing and mentoring the careers of drivers. And he also maintains a hilarious Facebook page. Sakon Yamamoto. Sakon Yamamoto was a Japanese politician who represented the Liberal Democratic Party from 2021 to 24 in the Tokai constituency, which is located in Kansai. He was a major backer of medical care and Social Security in Japan during his tenure as a politician. So, what does this have in common with Japan car culture? Yamamoto was an F1 driver in 2006, 2007, and 2010 for Super Aguri, Spiker, and HRT. He would also have a limited career in Formula E, post F1, before retiring in 2012 to focus on his medical and political career. Tier 5. Hino Samurai. When people think of the manufacturer Hino, usually trucks are the first thing that comes to mind. But in 1967, Hino created a beautiful car dubbed Samurai with support from Peter Brock, who is best known for helping Shelby America develop the Daytona and the Stingray. The car was developed in secret by Hino and Brock Racing Enterprises, or BRE, and was entered into the 1300cc class at the 1967 Japan Grand Prix. Weirdly enough, the team manager for its first outing was Toshiro Mifune, who was essentially the Japanese version of Sean Connery at the time, and is most well known for being in Akira Kurosawa movies. The car would contest in practice, and the downforce it produced was so high that it would scrape its belly pan around the entire circuit. Officials, with pressure from Toyota, forced Hino to withdraw the car before the race due to safety concerns, and the car has mysteriously vanished. Most likely, it is still being held in storage somewhere in Southern California. Kunimitsu Takahashi. While most of the JDM fanbase credits Tsuchiya with inventing and popularizing drifting in the late 1980s, in reality, Kunimitsu was actually the inventor of drifting in Japan. Kunimitsu was known for his high-speed inertia drift style that originated back in the late 1960s. He stated that he got the idea of drifting from his time as a Grand Prix motorcycle racer. He would go on to race in the 1977 Japanese Grand Prix for a Tyrrell Non-Works team, finishing 9th. James Hunt would win the race. Kunimitsu would enjoy a successful sports car career up until his retirement in 1999, where he transitioned into a team management role. He died in 2022 from lymphoma at age 82. Tier 6. Viewer discretion is advised. Some of the topics discussed below may be disturbing to some. 1998 Fuji Speedway Incident. This entry refers to an accident that occurred at the 1998 JGTC Fuji Speedway race, where driver Tetsuya Uta, driving a Ferrari F355, would be involved in a violent multi-car pileup on the main straight, caused by erratic safety car driving during torrential rain. Uta's car would burst into flames almost immediately during the crash, and he became trapped in the cockpit. He would be exposed to 800-degree temperatures for 1 minute and 30 seconds, which is a whole minute longer than what Grosjean experienced at the 2020 Bahrain Grand Prix. Amemiya RX-7 driver Shinichi Yamaji would be the first on scene and would use a fire extinguisher to get close to the wreckage and release Uta's safety belts. Marshals would arrive much later and would eventually pull him from the car. After a few medical blunders at the circuit from the officials, he would be transported to the hospital with third-degree burns to his face and neck, which would require plastic surgery to fix. Unfortunately, he would lose most of his mobility in his right arm and shoulder, ending his racing career as a result of the incident. He would launch a $2.5 million court case following the accident and would be rewarded $800,000 due to the poor response from the marshals. This accident would forever change how racing events would be run in Japan. They now use a similar medical car system that F1 uses domestically to protect drivers from this ever happening again. The Bone Crusher. The Bone Crusher is a nickname given to the Toyota TS010 Group C racing car in the early 1990s. Why, you ask? During a 9-day test preceding the Le Mans 24-hour race in 1992 at Sydney Motorsport Park, drivers Hitoshi Ogawa and Andy Wallace would both suffer broken ribs from driving the car for a prolonged period of time. Remarkably, both drivers broke their ribs in the same corner at the circuit, the one with the 310 km/h turn, better known by the locals as Moffat Corner. But how did the car break both drivers' ribs, and in the exact same corner? The car was a freak of nature with numerous factors contributing to this. It had an extraordinary level of downforce, with peak downforce maxing out at around 3.3 tons. This is almost double what contemporary F1 cars can make today. Due to this level of downforce, the drivers in high-speed corners were experiencing somewhere in the realm of 5 to 6 Gs. A famous big bump in Turn 1 at the circuit introduced a rapid shift in G-forces under already significant load, which resulted in breaking the ribs of both drivers. Despite the car's ability to break drivers' ribs, many drivers still hold to this day that this was one of the fastest sports cars they have ever driven, and the most fun. Bosozoku Spies. Alright, time for our first urban legend on this iceberg. This is the urban legend that during the Cold War, many nations, including the Soviet Union and China, used Bosozoku gangs to infiltrate Japanese society and conduct illegal espionage activities as a cover. While this does sound like something that would happen during the Cold War, there isn't much proof for this one, outside of a few forum posts and some word of mouth from people who were around at that time. Tier 7. Tokyo Bay Secret Circuit. This entry refers to a popular Japanese street racer urban legend in the late 90s, that there may have existed a hidden secret test track somewhere in the tunnel system near Tokyo Bay. The theory goes that some of the extremely wealthy street racers funded this circuit to give them somewhere to drive fast in Tokyo, as at the time, the nearest circuit to Tokyo was very far away. Most people who knew about this track would be sworn to secrecy, or would disappear from the street racing scene after allegedly being inducted into the group that ran the circuit. While there is some anecdotal evidence and sketchy secondhand accounts on forums like 2channel, its existence has never been proven. Midnight Club Special Forces. This legend says that during the large street racing crackdowns that occurred in the mid to late 90s, some Midnight Club members, amongst other groups, were arrested by Japanese police and were given a plea bargain. The plea bargain would usually consist of reduced jail time if they would train the police special assault team, and street racing specialist police in their ways. This training would be used to further their own capabilities. High-speed driving and tradecraft to capture street racers in safer, more efficient ways was the primary focus. Much like most entries on this part of the iceberg, there is not much physical evidence. However, there is a lot of circumstantial evidence. Following the 1995 Tokyo sarin gas attack, many of these specialist units were re-raised as a response to terrorism and organized crime. As such, they would have had to introduce performance driving back into their skill sets with modern vehicles. And who else would know how to drive street-legal vehicles better at the time and be able to evade authorities? Coincidentally, Japanese police also began to adopt high-performance cars around this period to catch street racers that were heavily modified. Some claim these captured street racers helped the police in recommending parts for these cars. It's a fun theory to consider, as this happens in other areas of crime. So why not street racing as well? Tier 8. Black Lotus. This entry refers to a popular theory in the early 2000s that a secret racing society in Japan called the Black Lotus existed and was active in the Tokyo area. They claim the group was born out of the collapse of Midnight Club in the late 1990s, with the more anti-establishment members creating their own group that were more aggressive than Midnight Club. Allegedly, they were excellent at not getting caught, as they would usually run of cars with no identifiable markers of any kind. The evidence pointing to this group's existence are posts on 2chan from the early 2000s that talk about a matte black RX-7 and completely blacked out R33 Skyline, which had been seen outrunning police in Kanagawa a few nights prior. A Minkara user in the early 2000s also mentioned blacked out cars matching these descriptions, appearing at some underground meetings at Kanagawa and Chiba. Outside of these posts, very little is known about them. Zero Yen Club. The Zero Yen Club, much like Black Lotus, is an alleged secret society that existed sometime in the late 90s and early 2000s. However, unlike Black Lotus, they were a circuit-focused group that would usually arrive with cars in bland, dull colors and look amateurish to an outsider. However, once these cars hit the track, they would be some of the fastest, with some claiming that they were as fast as a Super Taikyu or Group A cars of that period. The theory goes that these were affiliates or career racing drivers testing car manufacturer concepts or parts in secret, or rich car enthusiasts who didn't enjoy clout, who just showed up, did their business, and left. There is some proof of their existence, with a 2chan user claiming that they once saw a S2000 with no VIN, no plates, and full JGTC Aero setup running Fuji Speedway at night by themselves. There is also allegedly a piece of lost media from 2008 of a YouTube video allegedly showing a blacked out R32 Skyline lapping Tsukuba in the early 2000s with a small 0 yen sticker on the rear fender. If anyone watching this video has this piece of lost media, please contact me. It would be great to turn this from legend to fact. 1989 F1 Japanese GP mind control. This theory suggests that the 1989 F1 Japanese Grand Prix, yes, that one, was the subject of secret mind control experiments by an unknown party. The claims are that during the Grand Prix weekend, an experimental frequency-based focus modulation system was tested, allegedly to influence driver concentration, decision-making, and aggression. It supposedly delivered targeted frequency bursts designed to trigger fight-or-flight responses, decision fatigue, and spatial perception distortion. Believers in these claims usually point towards the Senna and Prost collision, with many claiming Senna was being over-aggressive compared to his usual self. And after being disqualified, he gave disjointed, contradictory interviews. Some say he looked dazed in his post-race footage. They also point to Prost's composure, with him remaining eerily calm, even when confronted about the crash. Furthermore, in later interviews, a few backmarkers and a Terrell mechanic reportedly mentioned having strange headaches during qualifying that weekend. This also ties into other theories about MK Ultra style experiments being conducted in sports environments, with similar rumors existing in Olympic circles, especially around strange events during the Tokyo 64 and Seoul 88 games. So that's the Japanese car culture iceberg. I had a lot of fun putting this together, and there are many things that even I didn't know when I started this iceberg. Leave a like and comment below about what iceberg entry intrigued you the most, and drop any of your own Japan motorsport conspiracies or theories below. Who knows? We might do a part 2 in the future. And as always, if you want to get on the track in Japan and experience what Japan has to offer on 2 or 4 wheels, please visit our website and contact us at Blink Services. Have a good day and stay safe out there.